Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be talking about setbacks, comparisons, and shadow work. Just like a summary of what we're going to talk about today. Just self-reflection moments that I've had throughout the week and things like that. So I just wanted to say, like, my self-growth journey is, I'm pretty sure you guys know, is very much in tied with spirituality and like things of such. And so I wanted to tell you guys that setbacks are really normal on our journey to get to know ourselves more. And I tell myself that every day because I get overwhelmed very easily. I would think like, oh, everything's going very well, like I'm learning, I'm changing, and becoming someone new. And then like a small problem hits, immediately I'm like in panic and I get really kind of nervous, and like the old feelings come back where I feel like I get triggered. And so I have to constantly ground myself and remind myself that setbacks are normal and not knowing the answer is also very normal. If I'm looking down, I'm looking at my notes that I prepared for this because there's a lot that I kind of want to touch upon. Also, that having conflicting opinions are normal as well, because we're all human. How does that tie into setbacks? Well, part of the reasons why I have a lot of setback is trying to navigate between opinions I hold as well as opinions that I hear from my friends and other people as well that I also agree with. So I could hear so many different opinions all around me. I can agree with all of them, right? But then I'm like, okay, yes, they all can hold true for me, but like, what is the answer, right? What is the answer that I will use to kind of the rule to kind of live my life? It's always been something that I've been constantly thinking about for a few years now. For example, here's this conflict that I've been having, and I kind of resolved it a little bit. There's no clear answer, but it kind of gives you a little bit of clarity, right? So my friend and I have talked about kind of the idea of being friends with your friends, like, no, being friends with, I don't know how to word this. If you have a falling out with someone, should your friends still remain friends with them, or should they break it off because they're friends with you? Right? This is something I've been like really struggling with, because in my head, I'm like, of course you have to break it off because they're your friend. Like, why would you want to kind of stand on the side of the person who had a disagreement with your friend? But then the more you think about it, it's all like perspective based as well as situational based, right? Sometimes it's not that one party did something wrong, the other party is a victim. Sometimes it's both parties did something. Sometimes it's just conflicting opinions. Sometimes it's so bad that, yeah, you're gonna have to pick a side, right? But the thing is, we shouldn't force people to pick a side. And I'm like, so what do I do? Like, what is the answer? Well, I figured it out. And it's not black or white. It's, like I said, situational based, right? During the situation where you're kind of quote unquote choosing a side or trying to decide what you want to do moving forward, is what do you value the most, right? Like, if I was the middle person where I had to choose between these two people, what do I value, right? Do I value like the opinions of one person over the other? Do I value kind of the justice in that situation? Or would I rather stay neutral because that's what I value, right? There's no right or wrong answer, but maybe to you or to me, like, there is a right or wrong answer. And that's where we make a choice, right? If your friend decided that they were going to choose the other person, then what are you going to do about it, right? You're going to make a decision based on your values. You value, quote unquote, like a certain friendship where they will choose your side, right? That's your answer. There is no black and white. It's just based on kind of your opinions and how you feel about a certain situation, things like that. So like, there's no clear answer. And I kind of use this logic to understand like how I feel about certain things. If I don't know an answer, I kind of like take a step back and be like, what do I value? What do I care about? And maybe there is a middle like ground. For example, another issue that I've been thinking about a lot recently that I don't really have an answer to, but maybe you guys can help me with, is personal life versus work life, right? people always say you have to be yourself in order to attract genuine connections and genuine experiences and to create the best reality for yourself because you are in alignment with yourself, right? But then what about the workplace? Like, yes, you can be yourself, but there's rules in place for work. And I'm the type of person where I believe that like your job is very important. Like, it's your source of income, and we have to remember that reality is we have to dress professionally in a professional world, and we have to know how to speak and how to kind of hold ourselves, right, to a certain standard because we are at work. Work is not your personal life. But then I'm like, but if you be yourself at work, won't you also attract opportunities and people that want you for your skills and things like that? You know, it's like a conflicting like thing that I've been thinking about a lot. And my sister told me, actually, you can still be yourself at work. You can. The only difference is you're kind of holding certain stuff back at work. For example, like, this might not apply to other people, but for me personally, I want to show other people that I'm more mature at the workplace. So what do? I kind of hide away all the cute stuff that I like so they don't think I'm like being childish. For example, like these little cute keychains that I use and things like that, or like kind of not talking about my personal life, not talking about relationships, just things that kind of keep things professional and, you know, stuff like that. So I'm still being myself. Yes, I can still have my own personality, but I'm not going to kind of let my personal life interfere with work. I don't know if I'm explaining this correctly, but I'm assuming you guys can understand what I mean. If you guys have like any tips or tricks or ideas or kind of views on this, please let me know. Leave in the comments below. I'm very interested in hearing other perspectives as well and how I can learn from that too. Now, the second thing that I wanted to talk about was kind of comparisons, right? Like, I always compare myself to other people, and I'm pretty sure it's kind of like second nature to us to compare ourselves the moment we hear somebody else's success or somebody else's setback or anything that we hear about, that we talk about in the real world, we will be comparing, even to our friends, our family, anything, right? Now, I also try to ground myself to, you know, maintain positive energy. And my friend has told me, you know, we're all from different walks of life and experiences, right? And we are all walking different paths. We all grow up differently. We experience different things, and that can honestly change the way that we react to certain situations, our motivations, our ambitions, and our drive, right? So, for example, like I talked about the celebrity Easter Yu. She's like this Chinese actress, and my sister was kind of talking about her. She really admires this celebrity because she's very hardworking. She keeps a very positive attitude, and she's like living a life that my sister wants, right? She asked the question, why is she constantly able to kind of work hard nonstop? And I said, there is no need to compare yourself in this situation because if you really think about it, this celebrity grew up rich. She grew up in a very comfortable life where, you know, she doesn't have to worry about a lot of things, right? So when you're in a very comfortable living situation, you're able to do what you want and to also kind of focus on yourself and pursue opportunities that you want to because you have the room to. You know, there's no sacrifices to it, right? Okay, you might say, but what if their family didn't support them, you know, into like this career, right? What if they didn't give any money to help them? Yeah, they didn't. But the fact that they grew up in a pretty comfortable situation means that like their mentality and the way they think is also very different. And I would kind of attribute this to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? You start off with physiological needs, safety needs, belongingness and love, self-esteem needs, and then self-actualization, right? I feel like usually people that start off in like a rich or comfortable household, they don't have to worry about the physiological needs or the safety needs, or maybe not the belonging and love needs. It really depends, right? But they're already kind of satisfied like a part of the hierarchy of needs, right? So once you have that satisfied, they have the opportunity to kind of be able to have like better self-esteem, better views of themselves, better living conditions, where I feel like usually rich people have this air of like confidence, right? Like innate confidence because nobody ever told them otherwise, that they weren't good enough, because money speaks in this world, right? Energy also speaks, but like the first thing I think a lot of people notice is kind of money, and that is already a big confidence booster. So once you're comfortable enough, it makes your journey way easier. I'm not saying like you don't have to work hard. Of course you have to work hard, but it's just that it's a lot easier. The starting point is way different. That's why I say there is no need to compare yourselves, because we all start at different levels, right? And when my sister asked the question, why is Esther you able to constantly work nonstop? Well, regular people kind of get burned out easily. Why? Because there's like this kind of, I think, new research done where like Gen Z and millennials are kind of getting burnt out way earlier at the ages of like 18 to 44 or something like that. And it used to be in the 40s, right? Like because of society and like how we grew up in like this age and this time, like it's way more different. Like we regular people have kind of so much things to worry about: bills, family expectations, the political landscape, everything going on is just a lot to handle. And I feel like we get burnt out so easily that there is no time to focus on like, chasing the things that we want, right? Because how can you chase the things that you want when money's on the line, right? When your livelihood is on the line, when you have people to support. But if you're someone like a rich celebrity, you really don't have to worry about anything. Your family is taken care of. Even if they don't choose to support you in your career and give you money, you don't have to worry about your family. You just worry about yourself, right? How can I work harder to get to where I am? Just like multitasking, right? Rich celebrities probably don't have to multitask like certain needs, but regular people, we have so much to worry about that there is no space for us to kind of just creatively pursue what we want without like anything stopping us, right? Like if you really think about it, that's what I mean. Like let's not compare ourselves to other people. I also wanted to talk about shadow work, and I'll start off with like a story. Throughout my life, I've been kind of complaining and trying to understand why I feel like I have no friends, or like a lot of friends that I can, really get close with and really like build genuine connections with, right? And I just realized it's because I judge people very harshly. I'm the type of person where if I kind of don't like your energy, I don't like your vibe from the very beginning, I will not talk to you. I will not give you a chance. And on top of that, I also don't take initiative in talking to people when I go out, because I'm also like pretty shy. I was recently talking to my sister about this. I was like, honestly, like the problem might lie within myself, right? Because I judge people on the surface so much, I don't give it a chance, and I don't give myself the chance to build a connection, to build a relationship, to even get to know the other person, right? And a second thing is, because I'm kind of forming these judgments against other people, I am like a reflection of myself. It's a mirror, right? I also feel like other people judge me for like how I dress and just kind of thinking I'm stuck up or standoffish and things like that. But it's like I also judge other people like that. It's like a two-way street. In order for me to be less scared of other people's judgments, I have to judge other people less as well. Because like I said, we are a mirror. If I'm not worried about other people judging me and thinking about this and that and this and that, then why do I have to worry about me judging other people, right? And if you also think about it like this, if you don't judge other people, you wouldn't think they would judge you too. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just kind of like, it goes both ways, right? And on top of that, like, this is what I mean by shadow work, right? Is recognizing like the hypocrisy within ourselves, as well as like the anger, the jealousy, and the shame that we hold. I feel like it's something that everybody runs away from. Because when we're talking about like self-love, self-growth, and just things like that, it's all about quote unquote like trying to be positive, right? No, it's also recognizing the the negative parts of ourselves, the parts that we find shameful and that society tells us is not okay. Because honestly, society expects us to be perfect and to hide away all our flaws, but that is not possible. We are human. We all have our kind of issues and our judgments and our hypocritical ways, right? And I think the first step to kind of self-love, self-growth is to acknowledge these part of ourselves. And if you want to work on it, you could ask yourselves, why do I hide that away? Why are we doing these things that we don't like? I think when you dig deep down, you can find part of it is related to our self-esteem or the way we grew up or just expectations of society. Like all of these things kind of stem from outside and kind of seep inside, you know? And I think it's important to recognize our shadow selves. And once you work on these things, you can use that to kind of, you can alchemize that into something positive, something that you can use to grow, right? And, you know, for example, what I did was when I recognized that, like, I judge other people and things like that, obviously to kind of be more aware of like my thoughts when I meet people. Instead of judging them, just kind of recognize that, oh yes, I'm making a judgment, but let it be. That judgment is not going to get in the way of me trying to talk to other people, right? Like you can't all of a sudden stop these thoughts that are running through your head. It just kind of happens, right? But you're building a habit of trying to understand that yes, you are forming these thoughts, but you can actually actively work against it, right? You can change. Everybody can change. And on top of that, like, what is the solution? I don't have a solution right now, but I guess a baby step that I can take is instead of waiting for like me to make friends and to go out to do things, I can actually go out and do it myself. I know it's a lot easier said than done because I've been telling myself for like many years that I could just go and do things on my own without friends, but at the end I chicken out because I get scared. I don't want to be seen as like a loner, you know? But honestly, I think other people's opinions don't matter. What can I do to make myself happy and to make my life easier, right? And I decided that, yes, I can literally just go out and explore the city on my own, go to a new cafe, kind of experience that on my own. If you really think about it, there's peace in that, right? Not only is it good for kind of like an experience on your own, you're also exploring yourself. And maybe you can find like something that you like, right? Maybe you go out to coffee shops and you realize, I kind of want to learn a little bit about coffee and then get into it. And then boom, you have a hobby, right? Or like you meet new people randomly. You just randomly meet people, you get to know them, you get to know what they do and kind of understand who they are. And then you're building habits, you're building like this muscle within you to kind of like learn, right? And so, you know, that's the first step that I believe we can all take. And I hope you guys can learn from this as well and leave any comments below for any kind of other perspectives that you guys have on everything that I just talked about. But yeah, thank you so much, guys. Bye.